Hello everyone, welcome to my podcast Woman in This World. I'm your host Leah, and I'm a Chinese girl working as a software engineer in Sweden. Today we have a fantastic guest, Dana. She is a Mexican working in Sweden as a software engineer too. Today's episode is our first episode. Welcome, Dana.
Hi, thank you for having me. I am honored to be part of your first episode.
It's my pleasure to have you as my guest. We can't wait to dive into your story about your experience with learning Swedish. It's our topic today, Swedish learning. But before we do, could you please introduce yourself a little bit to our listeners?
Yes, of course. Hello, everyone. As Mingli mentioned, I am Diana. I was born and raised in Mexico. I started my career as a software engineer there 13 years ago. And since 2021, I have been living and working in Sweden. And then, yes, of course, learning Swedish is an important part of my new life.
Okay, wonderful. Then tell me, Swedish is your second foreign language, right?
Yes, Spanish is my mother tongue, and English is the first foreign language I learned very late in life, I should say. I learned it after I graduated from the university. I remember my learning curve being so bumpy and difficult that I never thought I could do it again. But here I am.
I'm surprised that you learn English so late. Chinese schools start to teach children English at around 10, even earlier. So is learning English not mandatory in Mexico?
Uh, I'm not sure about the present, but when I was a student, English was mainly taught in private schools. And I always went to not only public, but rural schools. Nevertheless, some level of English, very basic level, is required by universities in order to get your bachelor degree. So yeah, you need basic English, but it's not that well taught in schools.
How was your English learning process?
Well, for universities, to say it's super basic. I think it really started when I became part of an American company, General Electric. I needed to collaborate with global teams to do my work. So there is no better motivation than that. I took classes, of course, but also with English. There are many tools to help you learn it if you let them. Let me elaborate. English has a powerful influence globally, or at least in Mexico, and it is almost everywhere in popular culture. You can expose yourself to English through movies, songs, various forms of entertainment. Unlike Swedish, which sounds and words are totally new to me. At the beginning, for me, Swedish sounded like alien language.
I can feel you. With English being so widely spoken all over the world,
Mhm.
surely have a significant influence on our daily life. So it creates an environment
Mm.
friendly for English learners. But on the other hand, Swedish is a minority language, which is not
Mhm.
that often spoken by people. Even here, it's in our working place. It's always English is always spoken.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. There is no motivation to learn Swedish. Everyone is speaking English. Yes.
Yes, my Swedish teacher gave me a website. It's svtplay.se, and you can watch television with subtitles on it. I will put the link in the show notes. Back to you, Diana. What's the biggest difficulty you have had when you learn Swedish?
Pronunciation is my main struggle. Even if I can pronounce a word after many repetitions, I will forget it 5 minutes later. My mouth will forget how to make the sound.
I can relate that it's a common thing to not have this kind of phonic feeling about a foreign language. I have bad experience when I learn new things, and I feel usually frustrated when I cannot follow the teacher, or I cannot get to a performance I want to obtain. Did you ever doubt yourself during your learning process?
A few times, but not really. Not anymore, at least. Most of the time, I am aware that learning a new language takes time and practice. With the years, I have learned to be kind to myself. So, no, I don't beat myself down for being a slow learner. But it took me a lot of time to get to this point. I used to doubt myself all the time in the past.
I'm happy for you. It's a great mindset to have. Sometimes, as young learners, we can be quite critical to
Mhm.
ourselves and doubt ourselves very often. I was in that mode, and then I realized it's about allowing yourself to make mistakes and learn from the mistake. Why is so important for you to learn Swedish?
Mhm. I believe it is a way of showing respect to the country I am living in. It's an excellent icebreaker with Swedes, I have to tell you. But it's also a practical skill in daily life to, understanding the bus driver's announcements, reading your mail, or attending the union conferences or trainings. Some time ago, I saw a series of leadership conferences that were offered by the union, but of course they were in Swedish.
I can understand. Even though here Swedes speak very well English, but
Mhm.
most of times daily use materials are often written in Swedish. Could you please share something that help you to learn Swedish? What's your tips?
Mhm. Sure. I'm taking classes with a Spanish-speaking teacher. He's actually Swedish, but he lives in Mexico, so we can relate to each other. I am also enrolled in the SFE, Swedish for Immigrants. It is a free program that the Swedish government offers to immigrants, and it's very good. And I've been using Duolingo consistently for 284 days. I'm proud of that. And this is not a commercial. This is just, I consider Duolingo a good app to learn new vocabulary. It's not good enough by itself, it's a complement.
I been using Duolingo myself too, but I cannot insist for as long as you do.
But it was a rocky beginning. Let me show you this because I am not as perfect as maybe I sounded. Uh, let me see if you can. Okay, it's loading. Just wait. Why are you failing me now? It's loading. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Here's the Duolingo app. All the orange are the days that I have practice, and these icy things are the days that I don't. I skip them. Like so, all of this looks very good, but if you come back, I'm back. I mean, yeah. This doesn't look as good. Yeah, this was the beginning.
Okay. So at the beginning, you were not as determined as today. When did you decide to learn Swedish?
Uh, I didn't start it immediately. As you say, I was not determined at the beginning. But I think that I needed to settle first, to feel comfortable with my new routines, with my new life. So it took me a few months to feel like it was the right moment. My recommendation is to not pressure yourself. A new country is always a shocking experience that you need some time to assimilate.
I totally agree. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Diana, for your sharing today. And thank you, listeners, to follow until the end of the episode. That's it. That's our first episode of Woman in this World. And I'm happy to have Diana with me today. So until next time, keep learning and exploring.